What's cracking, yo? Welcome back to Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic for today. All right, I think this is my first time actually covering this Boston Celtics Miami Heat series, but I wanted to give my opinion on it now that we are in a situation where the Boston Celtics, who were at one point down 3-0 in a series, won game 4 in Miami, and now are 3-1, down 3-1, going back to Boston. And if they win there, they'll go back to Miami. And if they win there, they'll go back for a game 7 in Boston. In the history of the NBA, there has never been a team in any round of the playoffs to ever come back from a 3-0 deficit. It's never been done. The record for teams on either side of that coin is 150-0. But I will tell you this. If I've ever seen a team down 3-0 in my history of watching basketball, that I felt confident that they could possibly come back from being down 3-0 and win the series, it's this Boston Celtics team against this Miami Heat team. In the history of me watching basketball and seeing series where they're 3-0, from what my memory serves, I would have never put money on that team that was down, but I would put money on these Boston Celtics, and I'll tell you why. This Boston Celtics team, what's happened to them in this series, it pretty much caught everybody off guard. Nobody, not even probably Miami Heat fans. I believe the Miami Heat thought they could sweep these guys. But even the fans down there in Miami, most of them anyway, probably did not picture the Miami Heat being up 3-0 on this Boston Celtics team. And while the Celtics team, throughout the course of the regular season, was pretty damn good, one of the better teams in the NBA, but we've seen them have mental lapses, and I'm not quite sure how to explain some of their playoff performances where, they went 7 games with a clearly inferior Philadelphia 76ers team who had their best player in and out during the series. Lost the game without Joel Embiid. Things like that. It's like, how do you lose that game in the playoffs? You have to take care of business. Things like that. But we all know what this Boston Celtics team is capable of on a regular basis, more so. But they're choosing the playoffs to really have these crazy defensive lapses, mental lapses, and just a horrible offensive execution. They've just been pretty piss poor in this Miami Heat series, especially from all facets of the game, it seems like. Their star players aren't showing up consistently, aren't bringing that vigor. Jayson Tatum is this guy that likes to be compared to Kobe Bryant, idolizes Kobe Bryant, and people like to draw comparisons to him and Kobe Bryant. But the Mamba mentality, I haven't seen that once this series up until game 4. He's been pretty horrible. Very horrible, actually. But I know that any moment this team can probably flip the switch and get back to something close, or get back to what we've seen from them over the course of the season. And even though they're down 3-1, I still believe the Boston, I look at the teams and I think the Celtics are a better team than Miami Heat. No slight against Miami. Miami's coming out here handling business. Coach Spo doing an amazing job. Jimmy Bucket's doing an amazing job. Overall, Bam, all these other players stepping up, playing good team ball, gritty execution, defense, everything. Like, they're balling, make no mistake about it. But I still think the Boston Celtics, especially from top to bottom, are a better basketball team. And I also believe that the Boston Celtics, when you look at their star players versus the Miami Heat star players, I think the Boston Celtics overall have more star power and some really good firepower off the bench and great role players. And like I said, credit to the Miami Heat. Kudos to the Miami Heat for putting pressure on the Celtics. I think it's a combination of what Miami's doing and, really, really pressing them really hard. But also, the Boston Celtics, I feel like, aren't living up to their potential in answering the bell, answering the call appropriately. And I think that they can. And Game 4 showed me everything I needed to know. I feel like, and obviously the better team will win, but I feel like the Boston Celtics are the better team. And I feel like they are more than capable of winning 3 in a row, just like the Miami Heat were able to win 3 in a row against them. Well, now 4 in a row. Would be 4 in a row total, but 3 more in a row. And I think about it, I'm like, well, you're going home to Boston. You're going to have the home crowd behind you. Everyone expects you to lose. Most teams, most people expect you to lose. So you can pretty much, play with a chip on your shoulder, but also kind of, I don't want to say play relaxed because obviously it's a do or die situation, but you have nothing to lose because everybody expects you to lose. So come out here, ball hard, backs against the wall, give everything you got, play free, and let the shots fly, and let the defense be suffocating. So you win that night. Now the series is 3-2. Now I think the pressure moves on to Miami Heat because now the Miami Heat are going to have the pressure going back home for Game 6, and you better close these guys out because you don't want to go back to Boston for Game 7. So the pressure definitely moves towards Miami if it ends up going to a Game 6. Because Miami doesn't want to be the team, the first team in NBA history, to lose a series after being up 3-0. They don't want that. And that even adds pressure to them for Game 7 in the Garden. Because they don't want to lose this series after going up 3-0. They don't want that attached to them. Even though you can say this was a bottom seed anyway, they shouldn't have been in this situation. But everybody will say, and I agree, that Miami Heat team was no ordinary bottom seed. They had some things they were going through in the regular season that ultimately led to their seeding being what it was. But it's like we all know that Miami Heat team wasn't your average bottom tier seeding team. So I can't even say, well, they had no business being there in the first place because they're better than what their record shows. But that's my opinion on the series. I think it is possible. I think if there's ever been a series that I can remember in my lifetime where I can be like, these guys actually have a chance to pull us off, this would be the one. It would be the one. And taking nothing against Miami. They've been balling. And they handling business like they're supposed to. And got Boston in the pressure cooker. But I think Boston, their star players, their energy, their attitude. If those guys have to lead the charge, Coach has to lead the charge, Tatum has to lead the charge, Jaylen Brown has to lead the charge. And if they're giving off certain kind of energy, that's going to bleed into the rest of the team. But if they can take what they captured in Game 4 and carry on with that moving forward, they could be in a good position here to make a miracle happen, to make things happen, to make history. Because I'm sure they have some confidence injected into their DNA after their recent victory. I'm sure they're feeling a lot better after that. Maybe they figured some things out. Maybe they were lost. Well, they definitely look lost out there, and they're starting to find their way a little bit, gaining some confidence. Take that momentum with you into the Garden. See what can happen. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest. But I think it's very possible, if we were going to see this happen, team come back down, or come back from being down 3-0, this would be the series. Because Boston shouldn't be down 3-0. And I still think they're the better team. So it's very possible they can rip 3 more off in a row with 2 being at home. Possible. But ultimately, they got to get it done. It's their fault why they're in this hole. And the Miami Heat's fault. Like, man, Miami's doing things right, no question about it. But there are definitely some things going on that team and organization that's led to them. I'm not giving them an excuse, not at all. But, you know, their lack of execution, the star players not showing up, shooting horribly, not being aggressive, not leading the charge. These things add to, you know, why they're in the position that they're in now. You know, when I see my star player not even taking 20 shots in a game, you know, with your back's against the wall, finishing with 13 points or whatever the hell he had, that just shows me a lack of aggression. That's a lack of aggression. That's what that shows me. I wouldn't even be as mad if he got up 25 shots and was just shooting bad. But show me that you're being aggressive. Like we saw in Game 4. It was like the switch turned on. And we saw the Boston Celtics team that we thought we would see. So, that's my opinion on this series. I think it can happen, and I think if they win this next game, the pressure is on Miami to wrap this thing up and not be that team, not potentially be that team to take this into Game 7 and possibly lose after being up 3-0. But I kind of want it to happen. Not that I care. I have no dog in the race, but I kind of want to see it happen just because of how quickly a lot of people change who their best player in the NBA was. I've seen people start the season saying Giannis was the best player in the league 1 or 2 rounds into the playoffs, 1 round into the playoffs. Then the person said Steph Curry was the best player in the league 1 more round into the playoffs. Then they said Nikola Jokic was the best player in the league. I'm like, come on, man, what is this? You do realize that the best player in the league doesn't necessarily have to win a championship or not always make it deep into the playoffs, right? I'm not the type of person that believes the best player in the league is always the star player who gets the finals MVP and led their team to a championship. I do not believe that. That's how some people evaluate their best player in the league. Not me. Not me. But I would love to see, because now all of a sudden people started saying Jimmy Butler is the best player in the league. Or they were saying if the Miami Heat wins the NBA Finals, Jimmy Butler would be the best player in the league. I'm like, no, I can't go there. But how quick they are to just change and grant somebody, come on, man, Jimmy Butler's not the best player. Even if Jimmy goes on and wins everything, I'm sorry, he's not the best player in the league. I can't go there. I can't. Anyway, that's my opinion. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified. Catch you on the next one. Good luck, Celtics fans. We out, baby.